Okay, we're going to look and have an introduction to inequalities, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be present for this lesson, so I'm videotaping it, and you can have a look at this if you get confused. So we'll start with something very, very basic. We'll start with x, and this reads as greater than 5. X is greater than 5. It can also be stated, and you need to get used to the language, x is more than 5, x is greater than 5, x is over 5, or x exceeds 5. Now we're going to click on this little desmos link and we're going to go into the graph and we're going to take a look at what this looks like. So if I put in desmos, x is equal to 5, it draws me a straight up and down vertical line at x is 5, okay? And but when we go to do x is greater than 5, I'm just going to move this out of the way and click that on, suddenly we get a dotted line at 5 and all this shading on the other side. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is the graph of x is greater than 5. So x is 5 is this line here. All the points along this line is x is 5, right? Y changes, but x stays as 5. Now, anything greater than x is 5, so x has got to be greater than 5, is going to be everything on this side of the line, right? It's going to be everything over here in the shaded area. So we shade, and I mean we can shade to infinity, but we don't need to do that. We just shade a small area around to show the graph. So that's what this screenshot is showing you. Basically, it's the graph of x is 5. So we draw a straight line at x is 5, and you'll notice it's dotted, and it's dotted because actually 5 is not included as part of the solution. So since x has got to be bigger than 5, then it can't include 5. So we shade everything on the right-hand side of 5. So that's the graph for x is greater than 5. X is less than 5. Let's take a look at that. So I'll just click that off. Guess what x is less than 5 might look like, right? Instead of being on the right-hand side of 5, the shading will be on the left-hand side of 5 because that represents everything on the left is x's where x is less than 5, and it doesn't include 5, so it's a dotted line. So it can be read as x is less than 5, x is fewer than 5, x is under 5, and if you want, you can draw a straight line at x is 5, and it really should be a dotted line. So I don't know if I can do that. Can I make it a dotted line? I can't really make it a dotted line. So I'll just draw solid for now. And then basically you shade everything on the left-hand side of 5. And you can shade that all in, and you can do a lovely pretty job of it. And you get that sort of idea that the shaded area is going to be everything less than 5. X is less than 5. So that's kind of the graph. Now, we could go to Desmos and we can do the next one. And we read this as x is greater than or equal to 5. So 5 is included as part of the solution. So if we go, and I just click all these off, and I go x is greater than or equal to 5. The only difference with this graph is basically we've got a solid line because x is part of the solution, and then I can basically, if I want, I can screenshot that and put it in here if I want. You guys have to do it a little bit harder than me, but just a little snippet of that. You can make it a little bit smaller if you want and throw it in there. And then we've got a little screenshot of x is greater than or equal to 5, which is only difference is from the top one is that 5 is included as part of the solution. And then we have this one, which is x is between 1 and 4. So x is greater than 1 but less than 4 is how that reads, or x is between 1 and 4. So let's look at Desmos and look at how that looks. So we have 1 greater than or equal to sign, x less than or equal to 4. Now that's what it looks like. So x is greater than 1, so it's to the right of 1, the shading, but less than or equal to 4. So it's got to be between 1 and 4. And that's what the graph looks like for a graph of x is between And I'm just going to screenshot that and throw that in. So we've got x is between 1 and 4, and that's what this symbol means, and it may be written in language. X is between 1 and 4 because x has got to be greater than 1 but less than 4, and that's the shading. And so that's the introduction to